Hi, this is Anne. Today I want to show you what I've going to make. I'm very excited, so I'm going to make, I saw something that somebody made. It's almost like the same, I just don't know what they use, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to make myself 2 little sheep. I'm going to try and do something else as well, but we'll do that later. So you can take a wooden dowel. I've just taken a piece of dry wood from my garden because I want to make it more organic. And I think they used that plaster that you use to cast, but I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use, I've got a little bit of wood glue in here. I hope you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I like to mix in a little bit of paint. I'm going to show you now what I'm going to use. I'm just going to use this is just polyfiller that you fill cracks within your home. So I've put about, sorry, I should have showed you, I didn't think. I've put about this amount, maybe one to 2 cold glue, and maybe 1 or 2, 1.5 of my craft paint. You can use PVA acrylic house paint as well in this. And then I'm just going to take out about maybe 3 scoops of my polyfiller. I don't want it to be too thin. You can even use the powder one that you mix with water. That doesn't really matter. I just prefer this one because it's easier. That's already mixed. And then what I'm going to use is maybe a brush, and I'm going to use toothpicks to hold it all together, and I've got a craft knife to cut the polystyrene. So I'm just going to quickly mix up everything here, and then I will show you what I'm going to do. I've already tried it on one, and it doesn't come off, so this is going to work great for me for texture. I love to use this for texture. I was thinking about using maybe a cloth or something, but and even where did I put that? Even these things that you use for cleaning a wound or dressing something. I just want to show you how big my bodies are. I've got one about 6 centimeters, this one in diameter, and this one is about 7.5. So I made some ears out of a toilet roll that I just cut open, 3 centimeters, and on the widest point there you can see 2, and that one is, let me just do it neater. That one is at the widest point about 2.3. Remember, you can, now I made a mistake. You can make it bigger or anything. Doesn't really have to take these exact amounts. And it's also 3 down there. So you can see this one is just slightly, almost 2 millimeters right around everything. The bigger you go with this balls, the bigger you can maybe, this one is 7.5, so I'm going to use this one. And for the small one, I'm going to use that one. So I already traced my ears. I'm just going to cut them out, and then I will show you what I'm going to do with them. So I think for the feet, I'm just going to put them somewhere around here. I'm going to do the same on the bigger one. I'm not going to show you everything on everyone. I've got something with a sharp point here. I think my legs are a little bit long, but I will see now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it in at a slight angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in there. I just want to make a slightly bigger hole. I'm just going to use the back of a paintbrush, and I'm going to go in the same hole. And I've got a little bit of Gorilla Glue. I'm just going to, these things, they roll everywhere. Pop in a little bit of my Gorilla Glue just on the feet. And I'm going to try and push it in with my stick. So I'm just going around my stick, and I'm just going to put it in. And then the other one, the same. You must just make sure before you think you are finished, that your little sheep can stand on its own feet. So I'm going to go up to that area there. I'm just going to take a pencil for this one. I'm just going to make it slightly bigger before I put in the wood. So now I'm just going to take my craft knife and I'm going to try and cut off a piece of the head. You can decide if you want to put it straight in between the legs like that. So I'm just going to take a little bit. I'm just going to cut off a little bit at a time, because you can easily cut off too much. And then I think that's about what I want. I've just taken 100 grit sandpaper and I just smoothed this heads a little bit onto that, because I haven't got a gadget to cut the polystyrene. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put in a, you can just check the angle what you want. I want it a little bit higher than my body. Just make sure it's in between your legs, otherwise it's going to look crazy. And then you can just twist it maybe a little bit and just watch it from the front or on the side and decide how high you want your little body. I think I'm going to go up to that edge there. I'm just going to put a little bit of my cold glue here as well, or my Gorilla Glue, sorry. And I'm just going to press that into there. There is a little bit of a gap. I'm not going to worry about that, because I'm going to fill it up with my texture paste. And I'm going to do the same on this one now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold these ears in half, like that. And I'm just going to glue them onto the sides. I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to see that it's in the middle of the face, you know, like in there. You can maybe, I don't want to, I'm just going to put them there from the middle of just slightly to the back, and I'm going to glue them there. So I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to pop in a little bit of glue and put them down. I don't mind if the glue peels a little bit out to the sides, because I'm anyway going to put some texture paste there. I need to make a tail. I forgot about the tail, but I'll do that now. So you will need to hold them there for a while. If you've got glue that sticks very fast and everything, then it's fine. I think an ear can almost work. I'm just going to cut it a little bit thinner. So I'm just going, if my tail will be about from there. Wish I had a glue that was quicker, but just check if you put them on that they're in the middle of your face. You can see that you get this type of idea. They can even be a little bit higher as well. It doesn't really matter, but I think I like them there. Okay, now I'm going to put on the little tails. Just make sure you're in between the head and in between the 2 feet. So you can make yourself a little mark if you want. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue again. Well, I think they will be. If I move them a little bit, I'm not going to worry too much about that, because actually I'm going to put the texture paste on top. It doesn't really matter for me. So now I'm just going to quickly put this in the sun to dry after I've glued on the tiles, and then I'll come back and show you how to do the texture paste. Okay, this is not too dry, but I want to start. Okay, you can see it's got a nice consistency. You can even, if you like, maybe we must do that, put a little bit of sand in there. Let me just get the sand. I've got a little bit of river sand. I hope you can see that. If your texture paste is not too stiff, you can put in a little bit of sand, or you can put a little bit of eggshells or anything in here, and then I'm just gonna apply, I want to put a little bit in there first just to tidy up that area. You can use a palette knife, you can use your brush, it really doesn't matter. My ears are still a little bit wet, so I don't want to disturb them. So I'm just going to make sure I've cleaned up that area around the neck. And remember, if you don't want to use, you can use any modeling paste or anything that you've got at hand. I don't want you to go and buy a lot of stuff and everything. Try and use what you've got. Usually all of us got a little bit of polyfiller or something at home that you can use. So I've just got a small palette knife, and I'm just thinking I'm going to use this. So I'm going to do it around these areas. And I make sure I go into that hole. So if it bothers you and you've got a little hole, now it's time to fix it. The sand gives it a nice texture. And as I already mixed in a little bit of my white paint, it colored the paint, the sand as well. Now the face, I want to go up to a certain area, and then I'm going to make the face a little bit smoother. So I'm just making sure I go into that areas there. And I think it's best if you maybe just leave it to dry overnight before you start with this. But if you've got a nice glue, yeah, this will also help it if you put in a little bit of your texture paste there in that areas, if you can see. And it makes your ear stronger and everything, you know. And you don't want people to see it's actually a piece of cardboard or a toilet roll, for the matter of the fact. Although this is a cheap project, you want to make it look expensive. So I'm just going to go around my little face here. Just keep an area for you that you can hold on to while you're working everywhere. And then I'm just going to go up to this area here. So maybe I can take my brush now and just try and get some of that texture paste and just paint my little face. I'm just going to paint it smooth like that. I hope you can see there. So you can just decide, maybe just past your ear about 2 or 3 millimeters, you can start and paint it from the middle to up to the nose. And I'm just trying to smooth out that sand. You know, sometimes I amaze myself at my ability to give me some extra work, you know. If I just put a little bit more thought into my process, it won't be a struggle like I'm struggling now. Okay, now I'm just going to dab. I wanted to make a little bit of a spiky, because I've got texture there. I just want to show this a little bit more off against the piece there in front. But you can do that as you go along. You don't need to do it now. Mine is actually a little bit wet, so I can still go on with my palette knife and just put it on. And you can, I'm just going to speed this up now because I don't want to bore you to death. I will see you when I've got everything on my little sheep. Okay, I'm finished with this one, so I'm just dabbing my palette knife slightly on top of my texture paste. Oopsie, don't do that. and then I'm going to put it in the sun to dry. Okay, I've got this antique, it's a Petite Rouge, and it's a Le Glace, and it's antique. You can also, I'm just too lazy to do that now, and I couldn't find my brown paint. You can even take your normal craft paint, any color like blue, like a brown or something, and you can water it down that it's almost up to this consistency, and then you can just paint it with your brush. Just make sure if it's a hard day you must work fairly quickly, because you don't want this to dry. You're going to wipe this off before it's too dry. So just and make sure your sheep is dry before you do this. You can even work in portions and maybe do the belly and then do the top and wipe it away, and do something like that as well. I've got a wet wipe that I'm going to use now, so I think I must just paint my underside first, and then I can go to the top. It will maybe be easier. Just be careful around your ears and everything, because they are made of carton, and if you get them too wet, I'm always scared something is going to fall off or break. But if this dries, then you don't need to worry too much. Okay, now when I'm this far, you can wait a moment if you like, otherwise you can just start. The best way is maybe always to start at the bottom, or where you don't see that much, because if you're not sure what you are going, how this is working. So you can see I'm trying to just touch the raised areas and leave the valleys, so that I get that light and dark areas. And you can also take away as much as you like. You don't need to take everything away. You can leave on more if you like it. It just depends on what you want to do. You can see the more you wipe onto it, the lighter it will become. And if you feel the need to take another wet wipe, then you take another wet wipe. I'm just going to glaze this one, and then I'll show you both of them together. If you don't like to put on the brown, then you can just leave the white ones. The white sheep, it also looks very nice for me. I just want to lighten the face a little bit more. I think I'm happy with this. So now I'm just going to quickly let this dry. Okay, it's dried now, so I've just taken my glue gun, and I'm going to take this to put it around the sheep's neck. I'm not sure. I'm just going to put around this big one. So I'm just going to put a little bit of twine, and then I will put that on top. So I'm just putting a little bit of my glue gun there, and I'm just going to press that in there. And I'm going to wrap it around about 2 or 3 times, maybe just one, because actually I still want to put that other stuff around as well. Drop off my glue gun again, and then I'll cut it. And then I'm not sure, you just see. I think I'm going to take a piece of 30 centimeters. I think that will be enough for maybe a bow. Just want to see if this one is going to work. It's going to cover up everything, so I think I will maybe just take these two. So this is my little sheep, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Just take a look. There's a lot of these little sheep that people made, and that's where I got my idea from. So you can just vary it, maybe use something else, or make it your own, like or make it your own and do something else with it. I think black sheep can also look very nice. But there they are, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I will definitely see you again. Take care.